Jerusalem. Israel's Supreme Court on Monday overturned a key component of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's contentious judicial overhaul, issuing a landmark decision that threatens to reopen fissures in Israeli society that predated the country's ongoing war against Hamas. The planned overhaul has sparked months' mass protests, threatened to trigger a constitutional crisis between judicial and legislative branches of government and shaken the cohesion powerful military. Those divisions were largely set aside after Hamas militants launched a bloody cross-border attack in southern Israel on October 7, triggering a nearly three-month war in Gaza. But Monday's court decision could reignite those tensions even as the country remains at war. Justice Minister Yariv Levin, an ally Netanyahu and architect overhaul, criticized court's decision, saying it showed the exact opposite spirit unity that is required for success our soldiers at front these days. Levin said decision will not discourage us, without saying whether government would try to revive plan in short term. We will continue to act with restraint and responsibility as the campaigns continue on different fronts, he said. In Monday's decision, the court narrowly voted to overturn a law passed in July that prevents judges from rejecting government decisions they deem unreasonable. Opponents argued that Netanyahu's efforts eliminate reasonableness standard opened the door to corruption and improper appointment of unqualified friends important positions. Maintenance work was suspended after Hamas militants killed approximately 1,200 people and kidnapped 240 people in an attack on October 7. Israel immediately declared war and is continuing an offensive in Gaza that Palestinian health officials say has killed nearly 22,000 people. In an 87 decision, Supreme Court justices struck down law for serious and unprecedented harm to the fundamental character of State of Israel as a democratic country. The justices also voted 123 that they have the authority to overturn so-called basic laws, important pieces of legislation that serve as a kind of constitution for Israel. This was a serious blow to Netanyahu and his hardline allies, who argue that national legislature, not Supreme Court, should have final say on legality of laws and other important decisions. The Knesset or parliament does not have omnipotent power, the judges said. Netanyahu's government may try to ignore Monday's decision, setting the stage for a constitutional crisis over who has ultimate power. Netanyahu and his allies announced plans for a sweeping overhaul shortly after taking office a year ago. It calls for restricting powers of judges, including limiting the Supreme Court's power to review parliamentary decisions and changing way judges are appointed. Supporters said the changes were aimed at strengthening democracy by limiting the powers of unelected judges and giving elected officials more power. However, opponent